Hello guys, thank you so much for tuning into this unfiltered, uncut video. My name is Hime, and today I wanted to talk about the next album that I'm actually going to be that's actually coming out in September. It's called Digital Wallflower, and just wanted to talk and at least document like the process, like the things that I kind of did, my favorite song of the album, some of the challenges that I came across with the album as well. And I'm not gonna try to be authentic. I'm already not. That's authentic, right? Anyway, just wanted to talk a bit about it. So let's start with number one, Digital Wallflower. It is a lo-fi, or at least the main goal of this album was to be a lo-fi album. Basically, since 2018, I have been dabbling and trying to get my feet wet in like the lo-fi hip-hop, lo-fi space. And listening back to a lot of my older tracks, I think I actually failed at that in a couple of ways. At least when I say failed, the songs I think turned out nice or well. However, I don't think that they'd be considered lo-fi. So there's a lot of that going on. And that was a big challenge for me. Man, I have some songs on my second album, about the intricate life of a wallflower. A couple of tracks on that were meant to be homages to lo-fi hip-hop, and when I listen back, I'm like, okay, no, that hi-hat has way too much high end. I have a lot of high end going on, even if I have a decent amount of distortion in some, right? So I had to sit my butt down, take out a notepad, and deliberately make notes about the characteristics of lo-fi, like just the basics. I listened to and watched and made notes based on L. Dre's videos. L. Dre's frigid amazing. I don't know how he does it, and he doesn't. I don't think he plays keys or anything, so it makes it like even more amazing. Because I can't sample. I'm not the best sample producer in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not saying he only samples. I'm saying like, I'm a musician, so when I hear like L. Dre's work, I'm just like, this is proof. Like, you don't need to have a background or formal background in music in order to make great sounding stuff, right? But anyway, I listened to L. Dre, made notes on what he's talked about. Mondo Loops and I believe Clufy as well were the main three. And I think I watched like just other videos here and there. I listened to a lot of lo-fi, and a lot of my notions of lo-fi were actually changed because I actually decided to really delve in and listen to the different playlists. And I actually understood that there are a lot of artists who actually do have their own sound, and not all lo-fi necessarily sounds the same, but they all have very similar characteristics. So anyway, P.S. one of my favorites is actually Kupla. Frigid amazing. Anyway, that's just to say, like, lo-fi has, I think, evolved a lot more than many people may want to give it credit for. The original stuff was kind of, that everybody used to just put out, was, I guess, kind of on the more boring side, where it's like, here's your piano, it's jazzy, and you got a basic, slow, boom bap, and that's lo-fi. Now it's kind of a little bit more expansive, and I appreciate that. However, a lot of the stuff that I tried to make, I don't even think actually can fully be characterized as lo-fi, even on this album. As much as I tried. Because here's the thing, I'm not technically a lo-fi hip-hop producer. I make downtempo, electronica, ambient based beats. You know, I'm an experimental artist as well a bit, you know. Well, what one would consider experimental. Maybe not avant-garde, I don't know. I don't know if I'm fancy enough for that. But I make non-hip-hop beats majority of the time. For Hime at least, right? So I use Hime as like a sandbox in a lot of ways to try to develop other skills that I can then utilize in other tracks, you know, like anywho. Actually, not anywho. I want to continue on that. Let's see. In my last album, not the Uninitiated, but the one before that, LIS, which I pronounce as either Lee or Liss. I don't know which one I'm still going with. Pronounce it however you like. People pronounce my name as Him3E, so it doesn't matter, right? The whole point is there were like at least 2 tracks on that album that were I was kind of trying to go for like that lo-fi based sound. I just got like Mello-Fi, the plugin from Arturia, and I wanted to try it out. I took not good notes, but I took note up here of what like Mondo Loops and Eldre would kind of talk about in their tracks, or about lo-fi, and try to incorporate it a bit. So I do have elements where I'm trying to take from lo-fi, but I've never really been very deliberate in making it. So okay, let's go on to the process with the notes and what I decided to do. Some people would say, oh my god, this is a trade, like this is probably a secret, you should keep it to yourself. No, I will not keep it to myself because it doesn't make a difference, right? They say that people, is it good artists steal or something like that? Like there's that quote. So all I did was I went outside of the lo-fi genre and I listened to just like old school indie pop stuff. I listened to like 90s music. I just listened to songs that I thoroughly enjoyed. I took note of their chords and I played them on this beautiful electric piano, and I improvised. I changed the tempo, and I added things. So, because technically you can't, I don't think you can fully copyright a chord progression, right? So you can take a chord progression from literally your favorite songs, and if you're a musician or a pianist or something, take those chords and expand. How did I expand? Well, I would use sus chords, for instance, right? Instead of, I'd use like secondary dominance for some, right? Like those are the types of things I did for pretty much the majority of the track, except for one song. And I'll get to that one later. So that's the basis for coming up with the chord progressions. I just found songs that I liked, wrote down the chords. Sometimes what I would do is ask my man, like, you know, say something like up or down or give me a key, and I would transpose things from the original key of the song to what my man says, right, or said, because I didn't want there to be any like real similarity between, like, I don't want somebody to like listen to the song and be like, oh yeah, like they got it from here, you know, Hime, she got it from here. It's like, no, like I don't want that, right? So that's the basis of at least trying to come up with like a loop, a chord progression type of loop. Next, I tried to be very deliberate with the instruments that I was using. One of the main challenges for me is that I like to throw everything except the kitchen sink at a track. So that ends up being like a really big challenge. And lo-fi is kind of about scaling back, and just letting y'all know, I am not a minimalist. I used to watch a lot of things about minimalism, and I used to like aspire to minimalism, but I am not a minimalist whatsoever. And in music, uh, I'm usually not a minimalist. I love putting everything in. So I was trying to scale back on a lot of my beats. I'm not sure if I did well with it, but I tried. I really, really tried. So yeah, that was a challenge. And let me see here. I'm just going on. Ooh, going on here. When did I say it was going to be released? There it is. Next, I gave the title, like song titles, like kind of more earthy, like an earthy feel. So, and they actually, by the time I finished the album, I personally think that the progression is very natural from song to song in a sense. Like, there's an overarching theme of au naturel that I was able to kind of like go with. It's great. Anyway, let's see. I'm gonna go back to the reason for the song title. So, initially, the idea with Digital Wallflower was that I was going to actually come up with another moniker, outside of Hime and outside of my house moniker, to do lo-fi hip hop. But one of the things that I had a bit of an issue with was the fact that because I'm not well versed in lo-fi, and I don't necessarily think that it's authentic for me to try to delve in because, you know, the views are there. I thought, like, for the most part, I'd only come up with like maybe 3 albums for like a lo-fi, purely lo-fi based album, and I didn't think it would be worth it to have its own moniker. So basically Digital Wallflower is like under Hime, specific for lo-fi. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. A lot of things make sense in my head. So anywho, Digital Wallflower, the title actually comes from my second album. It's called The Intricate Inner Life of a Wallflower. And on that album, that's when I first started to try to understand lo-fi and to try to produce lo-fi. I had like a song called Wallflower Love, where it was actually too fast and too much going on for it to technically be lo-fi, I think. And Autumn and Tio, I Enjoy the Time I Spend with You, like those were, as well as Last Days of Summer, and even to some degree Sunday Driver. Those songs were meant to kind of get my feet wet with lo-fi. That was the main purpose of those songs. And I failed miserably. No, I didn't fail miserably, but they weren't really lo-fi, and I'm okay with that now. But I wanted to just highlight that's where the song title came from, the Wallflower part at least, right? And we're in the digital age. Digital Wallflower. I lurk on Reddit and stuff. I lurk everywhere online. Therefore, you know, I feel like a digital wallflower is effectively a lurker. Okay, so I've talked about the song title. I've talked about like my challenges. I guess next is to talk about my favorite song on the album. And for those of you who are wondering what I'm doing, I've got my laptop on my lap. I should have something covering it. I should have something on top, actually. There we go. So yeah. So I was just kind of looking down, going like, oh yes, I wanted to do this, I want to do that. So Here's the next one. My favorite song on the album may not be technically lo-fi. It's actually the last song on the album as well. It's called I Guess It Was Just a Dream. And the inspiration for that song being my favorite as well actually came from the fact that last year I used to just take my electric guitar and plug it into the SP404, which is not in this room right now because we're moving and stuff, but and I played just like a little chord progression a couple of times, and I just left it on the memory card, and then I went through the memory card and I was like, oh yeah, there's this, I want to use it at some point. And you know, when I end up producing like a lot of my favorite tracks, like my truly favorite tracks on each album or on all of my albums or whatever, they don't come from a purely deliberate let me take notes place, right? So I guess it was just a dream, just happened, right? I went through the WAV files on my computer after taking it off of my SP, and I said this sounds kind of, it seems like it would be cool. So I found a way to loop it in time with with the tempo that I had already on my like in Studio One. And I then just said, okay, now in lo-fi, what you do is you have less kicks and, you know, like percussion in a sense going on. So I said, okay, let's do that. On its own, it sounded great, but because it's me and I like to do more in a sense, like I like to fill almost everything up, I added a couple of things, and I decided to use like an e-piano type sound and make variations on that, and kind of have what I guess I call the white rabbit effect, which is the Jefferson Airplane effect to me as well, which basically means a song starts out with very little and then it like expands, like it adds more and more. It's kind of like the song's like telling a bit of a story, right? So this track did that for me, and every time I listen to it, I'm always like, oh my god, like it's so freaking great. I love it. It's kind of hip hoppy. It's definitely down tempo. I don't think it can be characterized as lo-fi because it's not a song that you can just purely chill and study to. And I think that's the thing about me. A lot of these tracks, I do not believe you can actually sit down and just purely study to. There's a lot going on in them that I think, you know, it doesn't always work that way, and I'm okay with that. But anyway, this song, I Guess It Was Just a Dream, definitely my favorite. And oh, the guitar, I wish I can play it right now, but when I played it on the SP, it was actually inspired by math rock. By actually in particular, the group is Trico, which is a Japanese math rock band. Frigid amazing. My favorite song of theirs is, I think, Potage. Again, when it comes to pronunciation, I am not me. It's not it. I'm not it for it. So I didn't steal it at all. It was literally just inspired, right? And it's not even a full, yeah, it's definitely not a copy. I can tell you that. You can listen to it. You can listen to my like guitar part. It's not necessarily the same, but whew, that's my favorite. All the other tracks, of course, are great too. One of my other favorites, I think, let me partially play it here. Yes, second favorite on the album is Pink Skies. And when it came to trying to pitch, I guess, like songs to Spotify, Amazon, and whatever, this was one of the songs that I was going to choose. The reason why I went against it is because I think that there's a little too much going on with it that didn't resemble what people may be looking for in lo-fi right now. So I think at the end of the day, when it comes down to production, I'm learning again and again, or learning more and more, that being yourself and producing what you like and love it's so much more fulfilling in that sense than to try to just go along with the next fad. I think that, or maybe not fad, but the next genre that's like popular. And I think I say that because the songs that I tend to enjoy of mine the most are sometimes the most or the least commercial, right? And I have this underlying belief that at some point, songs that I personally tend to make can and will eventually catch on later on. So, and there's no need to just try to change up the genre every other year to try to get a part of the wave, right? When you can just do your thing, and I think naturally it can be heard. I don't know. That's me. That's me. And another part is, I mean, I don't know if I'm being authentic when I even say that, because I have been like, I've been trying to like chase and perfect, or not perfect, but to do some form of lo-fi the way that Captain Ahab has been trying to like catch Moby Dick. So lo-fi is almost like my Moby Dick, effectively. And I was not creating lo-fi for like, in a lot of ways, sometimes in like authentically. Again, I had notes on what I ought to do, what I should do, what tempo I should go at, what instruments I should have, how many hi-hats should I actually put in a track, like should they be on quantized or non-quantized, and if they are quantized, would it sound less lo-fi, like, you know, how much do I like turn down like this, what do I was very calculated with this album, and I think because I was more calculated, a lot of the tracks don't fully resonate with me the same way that tracks on, for instance, Uninitiated or Societal Hazing or even Lease would be for me. That said, because I do say that I am genre fluid, I guess I can get away with it. That's my loophole. But yeah, this is what I wanted to put out there. Unfiltered, unedited. This is it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and hope you guys actually tuned in. If not, that's totally okay. Like, this video is honestly for me, especially as a person that doesn't like to do video, and as a person that would rather stay in the background. I thoroughly enjoy just putting this out there for myself, and maybe looking at it in a year or two and being like, oh shoot, that's me. It's like, oh, that's cringe. Well, guess what? It's my cringe. Anyway, not being cringy, and I'm not being self-deprecating. I hope you guys actually do sit down and listen to Digital Wallflower when it comes out on September 3rd. It is September 3rd. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day slash night slash morning whenever you're deciding to listen and watch this. And I will be back with another video. Bye-bye.